Hey Hank, can you tell me if you can hear me okay? And if the music's too loud? I think the music's a little too loud. Alrighty, well I guess I'll get to it. Good to hear, man. Thank you. So pretty much what I'm doing right now is I've got a wiring diagram up on my other computer. Unfortunately I couldn't get it printed out, so I'll just have to keep looking at the screen, but I'm going to start at the back of the bike and, oh, you can't see my face. No. Right, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I'll start at the back of the bike. And I'm going to move forwards, and I'm just going to label everything for now, look at my colors on my wiring, and try and match them up with the wiring on the diagram. I don't expect people to stick around for this super thrilling live stream, but I figured this will motivate me to actually work on it. So, yeah. Yeah, no worries, man. I don't have any mods, so you're the first one. Alrighty, so I guess I'll start. I have a switch here, which I think goes to the oil pressure switch, and I don't have an oil tank on this thing anymore because, well, the oil is just mixed into the gas now. I really need to raise the camera a little bit here so I don't have to bend down as much. Alright, let's try this. Let's try this. That better? Yeah, we'll see. Alright. So yeah, I got my wiring diagram, and I'm just going to start matching up wires. I do believe this is the oil. I've got a light blue here, a black, and the black and red. So if we look at the oil switch, oil pressure switch, we have sky blue, black, and red and black. So that is indeed my oil pressure switch. So we'll just put in oil. And like I said, I'm not using that. I don't have the sensor, nor do I have the oil tank, seeing as the previous owner kind of ripped out the oil injection and now the bike is premix only. Kind of a hassle, means I gotta carry oil around with me, but at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. Thanks for joining in, guys. I saw there's like 3 or 4 people watching. I actually expected nobody to be watching, so this is literally just to motivate me to get this finished. Alright, so I know all of this stuff goes to the tail light and the turn signal, so I'm not going to touch that. However, I do want to figure out the wires that go into this unit here, which I think they call it the capacitor discharge ignition unit. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but I can imagine. I guess it just discharges the ignition coil for whatever reason. If somebody knows, let me know. I have no clue. So yeah, there are 6 wires coming out of it, and let's look at, actually I'm gonna take the harness off out of here because it'll be easier to follow the wires that way. There we go. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess right now. I'm working out of my living room. This is as good as it gets. No complaints though. My girlfriend is very patient with this situation. So I'm just trying to get the straps off. These they're not exactly zip ties. I feel like they're reusable zip ties. There we go. Previous owner also took the liberty of painting the frame with like regular spray paint. He oversprayed a bunch. There's a bunch on the shock. The wiring is sprayed. It's a bit of a mess, so I'm not worrying about it right now. I mean, other than the fact that the paint is coming off onto my fingers. But one day I will powder coat this thing and make it look nice. So let's just get this harness out of here so I can get a better look at it. I plan to retug the wiring anyway and properly seal it up as well, so I'm not too worried that I'm taking it all out right now. Okay. There we go. Okay, I don't know if I want to go much further at the moment. So I think I'll take the brake switch off actually, because I don't think I need to do that right now. I'm gonna look at the discharge unit and match up the wires for that. So I see orange, black, and black and white. And orange, black, and black and white. I really wish I could I really wish I had the diagram printed out. I should have thought of that, but I just have to keep looking back at the screen. So okay, so the orange actually goes to the ignition coil. The orange goes to the ignition coil, which, okay, I see what he did. So this genius, alright, when I bought this bike, this guy was like, man, I made this thing theft proof. I was like, alright, show me. So this guy had just like a switch that was hidden under carburetor. The most theft proof thing you'll ever see, right? Well, it looks like what he did was the wire, the orange wire that I just found going to the coil, he spliced the switch into that. So I'll probably have to bypass that. I'll probably have to just return that to normal. I don't really care about the switch. I'm just gonna have a normal kill switch and a key switch on the dash. So I don't really care about silly stuff like this. If I ever do really worry about my bike getting stolen, I'll wire something in, but I'm not gonna keep this atrocity. So that's good to know that at least so far the colors of the wires are matching up. So let's quickly label this orange wire. And we'll say this goes to the ignition coil. So this is kind of tedious work right now, but I feel like it's necessary so that once it's all labeled, once I know where everything is, I can just kind of go boom, 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 see what's good, see what's not, transfer over to new. Oh, hopefully that'll be better. I turned the music off so that it streams a little better. Alrighty. So orange is ignition coil on this end. And I think I'll mark it on the other end as well. It's a lot less fun without music. But what can you do when you live in a shoe? Alright, so ignition coil, and I'm actually going to take this whole switcheroo idea of his off of here, because I really don't like it. Really don't like it. Sometimes, man, I mean, I'm guilty of this as well. I'm guilty of doing stuff like this as well, but I just, yeah. Alrighty, so that tapes off. Hi Scorpio Topaz Reps. Thanks, man. Seriously, nobody else is watching. Well, Hank, but you know, Hank is like a brother from another mother, so I expect them to watch. Thanks for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. I'm just, I'm grinding away on my electrical. I'm going through and labeling everything so that tomorrow I can go back and I can see what's good, what's not, and I can rewire the stuff that's not good and hopefully be up and running shortly. But yeah, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping by. I got kind of sick of not riding my own bike, so this live stream is motivating me to work on it more. Okay, so next wire. We figured out the ignition wire. I need to cut off this. I need to cut off his thingamajigger here. Oh, I guess I don't need to cut it off. So there it is. The switch. Thanks, man. Yeah, Con is a great guy, and I appreciate him shouting me out. We're good buds in real life, and I'm glad you like my content. I was actually kind of worried that people who watch his video game stuff wouldn't be as interested in my bike stuff, and I mean, at the end of the day, I would like to grow on my own as well. But it really is cool when people from his channel are interested in my stuff as well. I really find that interesting, and I really appreciate the support. I am working on getting a better modem so that I can stream video games and whatnot. As you can tell, I'm literally like pushing the streaming, I guess the streaming limits right now because my internet is so poor. It might cut out here and there. I actually had music playing, but the stream was lagging, so I turned the music off. But anyway, getting rid of this crappy switch that the previous owner wired in to quote-unquote make it theft-proof. And now let's look at the next wire. So there are two sets of wires coming out of this discharge unit. Oh, what's up? Yeah, that's awesome, man. And honestly, Con and I have been talking, and he does, he has mentioned that down the line he'd like to do more like IRL stuff with cars and bikes, and so I'm really looking forward to a point where we can both do stuff like that together, and I'm also looking forward to getting better internet so that I can, stream games with him and record with him more. Yeah. Alrighty, so two sets of wires coming out of this discharge unit. One of them is orange, one of them is black, and one of them is black and white. So we took care of the orange one. Let's look at the other ones. So we have orange and we have black. Okay, so black seems to go to... Black seems to go to the black on the ignition, as well as it interconnects with the black on the other wire here. See, I really want to take all this tape off. I think I will just take all this tape off. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just assume that everything here is okay because it's taped up. I think I'll just assume for now that this is okay, and if when I'm done it's still not working, I'll go back and I will untangle this whole loom, I guess you could call it. It's a wiring loom. So I'm going to assume that that's okay. I'm not going to go crazy and start taking everything apart because that usually never ends well. And by usually I mean always, that never ends well. So okay, so we know that that goes to the black on in here, right? So this is the ignition coil. The ignition coil is, sorry, the magneto is in here. So we need to see. Alright, I'm gonna undo this and pull it out so that I can look at it. And I need to see where this wire comes out from. So I've got a black wire that is in fact going to the ignition. And I'm going to assume that it's fine. Because once again, my problem was never ignition. The problem with the wiring of this bike is not ignition, it is everything else, like auxiliary lights, turn signals, lights, turn signals, horn, and that's it. Yeah, like this thing runs. This thing will start up. I could start it right now. I don't want to. I won't. My girlfriend will kill me. My cat will disown me. So, okay, so I know that that goes to the ignition coil. Sorry, the magneto. Show us 8. This is family-friendly Cosmo, okay? I ain't doing none of that. Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate it. I'm just going through all my wiring, back to front, labeling things, making sure that what's here is good. Clearly what's up there is not good, but we'll get there. I'm just making sure that everything else is good. So I got 2 of these wires figured out on the discharge unit. Let's see where the black and white goes. I feel like the black and white is ground, so let's confirm that theory. So the black and white goes to, that's interesting. The black and white goes to the engine stop switch as well as the ignition switch. So what they're telling me is that this black and white wire right here, let's label that, because I will definitely forget that one. I won't forget the black one, but I'll forget the black and white one. So this is kill switch and ignition. That's weird. Okay, let's give that a go though. And let's see where this wire takes us. So that's kill switch and ignition. And take that up. It's gonna suck going and taking all this tape off later, but at the same time, it's gonna help me remember stuff. So it's a trade-off. Okay, so black and white allegedly goes to, let's see, black and white. Come on. Black and white. I don't see a black and white yet. Aha, black and white. Okay, let's see where you come out in this whole mess. Black and white. I see black and white. Turn signal left. No. I marked that off. Turn signal left. Engine stop switch. Aha. Okay, so I found the black and white coming out of the loom, and it actually already goes to a switch labeled engine stop switch, so that's good. I don't have to label that. I guess he labeled that when he ripped it all apart, which is nice. And this apparently, okay, so this is my ignition. However, he only had it wired for the lights, so he plugged everything else up. Okay, so here's what he did. He completely removed the kill switch and ignition switch, and he wired the little switch into the ignition coil, which is fine, but that's not going to pass safety. So I'm going to have to revert that, but that's fine because I can just clean this up and I can throw it all back together and that should be fine. That doesn't seem too much trouble. I really, like, when I go and do the wiring, I'm going to have to clean up here because I just don't have the space to be on this side of the bike and, you know, cutting wires, soldering and whatnot. I actually may not even solder, I may just crimp. So this is good news. Definitely good news. He did do, oh, okay. Okay, so this goes to lights. Ah, I see what he did. Okay, that makes sense. Alrighty, so let's label that. That's good. That's good news. At least some of the colors are matching up. Let me check if the stream's doing okay. I'm gonna be checking here and there. Oh yeah, there we go. Cool. Sorry, I gotta tighten my pants up. So we don't get any accidental crack. Okay. Let's mark that off actually. So that no, that's already marked off. Perfect. Moving on to the next color. I like your extra medium. You know what, man? I woke up today and I was like, I'm feeling sexy. And so I put the shirt on. But yeah, no, I'm fully aware that it's a little small. I think I like went to the gym once and got a little ambitious, you know. Alright, focus. Okay, so we got the orange. Orange goes to ignition coil. We got the black. Black goes to magneto. We got the black and white. Black and white will eventually be reverted back to ignition switch / kill switch. And we are on to the second, I guess, group of wires coming out of the discharge unit. And let's start with red. I like red. Let's start with red. Okay. So red seems to go out of there and goes into the red of the magneto. So once again, I'm going to assume that that one is fine because I never had any problems either getting power out of my magneto or getting power for spark out of my magneto. As in, the bike runs well, and I have 95% confidence that my lighting problems are in the front area of the bike rather than in the engine. So we're not going to worry about red. We'll just make a small mention probably that it goes to the magneto and call it a day. Hey, I totally will, man. Once I'm done here, there's clearly not a lot of people in my chat right now, so I'll remember your name and I'll check out your channel afterwards. Alrighty, red goes to magneto. We'll just write mag. And yeah, I am waiting on a couple more parts for this bike. So I bought another ignition switch. Even though this one came with this ignition switch, I want to get one that's a little more sealed. I feel like this one is a little exposed in the bottom end. I don't want to get any water in there. I might just have to plastic dip whatever I get anyways. But it'll be nice to have a brand new ignition switch, you know. What else am I waiting for? I got my mirrors. I'm waiting for my grips. I haven't taken my grips off to swap my lever out. Actually, here, let me show you my lever. I haven't swapped this lever in yet because I don't want to take the grips off and then not have any grips in case the bike is finished before my grips come in. If that makes any sense. But yeah, this is I thought it was a 2-finger clutch perch, but it's a 1-finger. Especially if I'm wearing beefy gloves, it's gonna be pretty 1-finger in my opinion. But I'm looking forward to trying this one. It's definitely better than my wobbly one over here. And I think it'll be just a matter of getting used to it on the trails. Not to mention, for the first little while, I'll probably take it easy on the bike. I don't know what could be wrong with it. For all I know, you know, like the front suspension is about to blow out. Maybe my spokes aren't tight. Like, I honestly haven't done any of those mechanical checks, which after riding off-road and actually after having that guy have a spoke come loose on his CRF, I'm a little worried about mine as well, because the guy did do some off-roading on it. Not too intense, but it was done. Yeah, man, this lever is actually pretty sweet. Hold on. Really, dude? Which lever, the clutch one or the right side one? Oh wow, yeah man, Loctite. Loctite or like Nylox, I guess. Yeah, that's not good, eh? But it's we'll fix it. We'll fix it right up. So yeah, this clutch lever is actually, I believe it was 45 bucks, and I got it from Hong Kong. It's really good quality. It's got a nice weight to it. I'm not like, you know, advertising for them or anything, but I do like the quality. There is an adjustment. There's actually quite a bit of room for adjustment. There's 3 different holes for your nub, for your wire. There's adjustment in this end, and there's also a little screw right here, which you can screw in and essentially adjust the limit of your lever. So yeah, it's pretty cool, I'd say. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Wow. Yeah, I guess, I mean, there's a lot of vibrations going on, so that's bound to happen, but I can only imagine how many things I'm going to be tightening up on this thing as I go along. But hey, that's the fun of it, right? As long as it doesn't come apart halfway through a ride. So, put this thing away. No, I haven't actually. No, is it just like an extended lever that gives you more leverage and it's easier to pull? I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna take my front fender off here as well. Show you guys the failed experiment. So this is the Supermoto fender that I got for legit $10. I believe this is a Service knockoff. I got it for $10. It came a little damaged. Canada Post even wrote this whole thing like, oh, like, we apologize, your mail is damaged. Too bad. I didn't really care that much. It's 10 bucks. I mounted it up, and it's honestly something that I should have thought of before I bought it, but the thing with modern suspension versus vintage suspension is that back in the 70s, the suspension wasn't that good. So the angle at which they would have to design it at would have to be a little steeper, so that when you're driving across, you know, say boulders or trees or any humps or whatever, the force is more angled rather than more upwards. So, sorry, I'm explaining that wrong. If your suspension is at a, I guess you'd call that a low angle, if you're going towards a boulder, it will want to cave in on you, which is why back then they had them angled a little more outwards. Modern suspension is beefier, so it's able to handle that stuff easier, thus it is at a lower angle, and a fender like this would be perfect for that because it actually curves the wheel around, right? On my bike, it looks like this. So the fender just kind of sticks up into the air and looks really goofy, and I don't like it. So that's a $10 experiment. Sorry if my streaming setup isn't ideal. It's my first time doing it. I have no clue what I'm doing. Back to the wiring. So red wire goes to magneto, white and red. Let's look at white and red. White and red goes to, white and red also goes to magneto. So so far this is pretty easy. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. White and red goes to magneto. I wrote white and red on the label instead of magneto because, you know, that's helpful. White and red, magneto. There we go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, dude. It's like, and here the problem is, I'll show you once I stick this thing on. The problem I found as well with this one is this tip right here is literally like, it doesn't even go below my cylinder head. So all the rocks, all the mud and everything is just going to be going onto my engine. Same for you, I think, because the CRF fender, it kind of looks like this in the front, but I think in the back it's more covered, and it just protects your frame and your rads and everything way better. But when you go supermoto and you're not going to be doing much off-road with it, I don't see why not. I mean, I'll keep it around, right? I don't have any use for it, so it'll just sit around until one of my buddies can use it. Yeah, exactly. It won't matter. Yeah, Scorpio, tell us about it. Being a small YouTuber is tough because it's one of those things, right, where you feel like you're automatically gonna get attention, you're automatically gonna get views, but it just doesn't work like that. You know, it's a grind, and you gotta be committed. Like, I take a lot of breaks. You know, like I'll post like 3 times a week 1 week, and then I won't post at all for like 2 weeks, and that's kind of what kills my channel in a way, because as soon as I gain momentum, I stop posting, and unfortunately, that's what kills my channel. Not kills it, just makes it grow at a much slower rate. So we got that wire figured out, and we got a black and brown. Oh yeah, definitely shorter, and it's got these cheese holes, right? So make what you will of that. Okay, black and brown, let's check it out. I do have a beer and I'm really thirsty, but I'm gonna save that. Let's start with brown. Okay, so brown goes to, what do you know, Magneto. Let's check black. Black goes to, oh yeah, we already figured out where black went, and black went to Magneto as well. So I am literally going to take off these 2 tags that I just made, and I'm going to rename that whole loom Magneto. And call it a day, and never worry about it again. Hopefully. I know this part of the bike is fine. I'm just doing it for the sake of being 100% sure that the problem is not in this part. Yeah, YouTube algorithm definitely hates inconsistency, man. I actually noticed that. Like, when I post 3 videos a week, I only start gaining momentum by the 3rd video. Like, my 3rd video starts doing better than my other 2 finally, because YouTube picks up. It's like, oh, this guy's posting, you know? So I actually don't know how it works. I'm only assuming that's how it works, but all I know is that when I post more, I get better views. Straight up. So this whole loom is the Magneto loom. Yeah, man, tires are actually fresh. Like, they're not, like, they're definitely dual sport tires. They're not, you know, super beef tech, but I would say the front's here, let's measure it. I'm curious now as well. The front's got a centimeter of tread. And I'd say the back's got 1.5, and they are fresh. When he gave me, like, when he sold me the bike, I got the old set of tires with him, and they were rotten, like, they were bad. He was like, oh, you can use these for off-road. I was like, I can use these for throwing out in the garbage tomorrow. So the tires are still good. The tires will definitely pass safety. Yeah, the knobbies are good, man. I like their knobbies. They'll definitely wear, just to show how new they are, they've still got those, like, fuzzies. You know what I'm talking about. Nobody knows the technical term, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, the front and back still got their fuzzies. Alrighty, so we just took care of the whole discharge unit. That's pretty sweet. I know the back here, this is actually the connector that I'm making for my for connecting my tail light, my turn signals, and my brake light all into one, so that if I ever need to, I can just disconnect it and not worry about it. Currently it's a mess. There's these 3 wires, and then there's a turn signal wire separately, so that's all gonna go onto one connector, nicely tucked away, to never be worried about again. Is it? Hey man, I guess I'm on top of my technical lingo then. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting because I have to dive into the bike a little bit, not too much. There is quite a bit of grounding going on, so I know this is, oh, okay, so this right here, it's kind of hard to see, I can't fully pull it out, but this is the old regulator, and this is the thing, this is the unit that keeps the bike capped at 6 volts. So the magneto, I actually measured it with a voltmeter, the magneto is capable of putting out 16 to 20 volts at max RPM, which is 6,500 RPM currently. I'm planning to raise that, but in the future. I'm not messing with that right now. So that little unit caps it off at 6 volts. Hey man, we coined it. Good stuff. And I guess the issue with 6 volts is it's becoming increasingly harder to find 6 volt bulbs, 6 volt sockets. Just in general, 6 volts is only used for farm vehicles as far as I'm concerned, like tractors and old vehicles like this. Now, since the bike is capable of putting out up to 20 volts at max RPM, that tells me that at mid-range it puts out roughly 12. Now, this unit right here is the new regulator slash rectifier. So somewhere up here is also the rectifier, which charges the battery, I think. I'm an electrical noob, okay? But as far as I'm concerned, the rectifier is what allows you to charge the battery. The regulator is what caps the voltage coming out of the magneto at a certain voltage. This is a 12 volt regulator rectifier. So I'm gonna swap this little guy out with this guy, and actually, this is amazing. All right, get this, 1970s tech, Japanese. Modern tech, Chinese. Mounting holes, spaced exactly the same. So I can even mount this thing in the exact same spot as the old one was. This is going really good so far. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only reason I'm not Googling it right now is because I would have to step away, you know, and take the time to do it. Plus, I am not at the rectifier section yet. Once I get there, I'll probably look into it, and I'll also have to go and refer to a little like instructional manual on how to properly convert these to 12 volts. But my current goal is to get it running 6 volts, just 6 volts. Once everything is working, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna swap the necessary components to make it 12 volts. One thing at a time, you know, because if I do everything at once, I'm not gonna know what's wrong with it if something is wrong with it. Also, this is the battery that I got from Fort 9, and it is the same size as the stock battery, which is nice because it will fit right in here and I don't have to worry about that. The only thing is I still have to get this thing filled up with acid and activated, but that's literally the last thing I'm gonna do. I can even test all of the bike's electricals here in my living room because I have a PC power supply, and I can just jumper 2 of the terminals to turn it on, and then I'll be getting 5 volts out of it, and I can at least check if my stuff's working. So that's the battery. Whew. This is a workout on its own. So we took care of the discharge unit. I think it's time to move on to this area here and see what this is all about. So let's look at the rectifier first of all and see if the wires coming out of here, sorry, regulator, and see if the wires coming out of here are proper colors. Black and yellow. Black and yellow, black and yellow. Regulator. Black and yellow. What do you know? So that's good. And where did these guys go? Let's check it out. So far it's looking like the diagram. I only got a glimpse of it, but okay, so the black goes to a Y joint, or a Y conjunction. One second, let me reference my diagram again. So the black does indeed go to a double one, which then goes to the oil pressure switch and the brake light. Okay, but then where is it going on the other end? Oh, so that goes to ground. This black is our chassis ground, actually. It's our main chassis ground. So let's see where that goes. I'm getting kind of hot in here, and not in the fun way. So black, where do you go? There's also a red coming out of here. Now if only, oh, that's a fuse. Okay, yeah, this makes a little more sense. So this is one of my battery terminals, and I've got a fuse in here. Now what I'm wondering is, if I am running 12 volts, I'll be drawing the same power. Yeah, I want to draw the same amount of current from my magneto, which means I'll probably require the same, yeah, I can probably use the same fuse. That makes sense, right? If I'm drawing the same amount of power, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm drawing much less current. That's right. Okay, so here's the math. Power is equal to voltage times current, right? I'm pretty sure. So if the stock power draw for this bike with all the electrics and everything is, say, 50 watts. I'm pretty sure it's 55 watts, but let's say it's 50 watts. On 6 volts, that's gonna be roughly, the math is killing me. I can't think, it's too hot. 8 amps? Roughly 8 amps in total. Okay, yeah, that makes a little sense. So if I'm running 12 volts with the same power draw, which I want to keep the same power draw, I don't want to overdraw this thing, I will be running much less current. I'll be running twice as little current, not much less, exactly twice as little. So I do need to get a different fuse. So let's see what this fuse is. This is a 5 amp fuse. I guess that means that I'm not actually drawing a full 8 amps at all times. No, I'm not, because I'm not using all my turn signals. I'm not using all that stuff all at once. So 5 amps, I'll probably get a 2.5 amp fuse, and that should do it. Yeah, I think that'll do it. If I'm talking gibberish, just let me know. So we'll stick that back in there for now, and we'll get back to it when the bike is actually getting reassembled. Because I live right next to a Canadian Tire, I can just run over and grab a new fuse. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we got that figured out. That goes to, let's pull it all out onto the same side so that I can just look at it all at once instead of guessing what's what. Now, I do have a second battery terminal here, I believe. Okay, yeah, so second battery terminal, and I think that just goes to ground. I believe that just goes to ground. Let's check. Fuse. Yep, that just goes to ground. That's beautiful. And I mean, that makes sense. Not only is that beautiful, that also makes sense. I'm just checking where the wire that is attached to the fuse goes. Oh, okay, so there's the rectifier. Okay, beautiful. So the other wire, this red wire that we have the fuse on, that goes to the positive battery terminal. Positive, I believe? Yes, positive battery terminal. That goes to the front. Does it stay red though? Oh no, haha. I see what he did. He wired in a red wire, but that's supposed to be black. So, this is where things are starting to get interesting. So that goes to the ignition switch, and that also goes to the rectifier. So let's find the rectifier. I believe this is the rectifier. It's this little dude right here. Oh, that's cute. Cute little rectifier. Rectifier has a red coming out of it and white. I don't have a white. Like I said, this is where things get interesting. Or is that white? It's just a really, yeah, it's just a really dirty white. It's so white it almost looks brown. Sorry, it's so dirty it almost looks brown. So that's good. That's good. And let me check something else. Yeah, no, that's good. That's gonna have to come off though, because this little unit right here is actually a rectifier and regulator in one. Let me just quickly check the stream, make sure it's running well. Cool, we are good. I do have a seized up bolt in here. I'm gonna have to drill that out, and I think that mounts my gas tank. I got one mounting point, and it's got this kind of stock here, so that'll be fine. But I do have to extract that bolt from there and get a new one. Hopefully I don't have to helicoil it, because there's not much meat on there, but we'll see. We'll cross that path when we get there. Okay, so rectifier. We figured out the red wire. It's beautiful. The red wire goes to the rectifier and then to the ignition switch. Oh, speaking of, I did not see if it goes to the ignition switch, because we technically don't have an ignition switch, right? This guy ripped it out. So, what did he do? I'm gonna have to take this off, and I think I'm gonna have to take this off right here. I kind of want to take the exhaust off, but the thing is it's really dusty in the house, and we live right next to a road. I really don't want stuff getting into the engine ports. I have the intake plugged up right now, but even then, dust has a way of getting into the smallest nooks and crannies. So I'm trying to get the zip tie off so I can get the loom out, so I can look at it better, because as I said, we have a red wire that goes to the rectifier and then to the ignition switch. However, since he eliminated the ignition switch, I want to see where the red wire actually goes now. Oh my goodness, itchy nose. I really wish I could turn the music back on for you guys, but I think it's gonna lag personally. Once I get better internet, that's gonna be solved though. Come on. I don't understand how to easily undo these, even though they're reusable. It's kind of wrecking my fingers right now, but you know, that's okay. There we go. Got that out. Ah. Oh no, that's the wire that I found before. Okay. That's our turn signal unit. That's nice. Okay, so red, where do you go, red? Red does indeed go somewhere up here. Red does indeed go to the ignition switch. Perfect. The one that he hot-wired, I guess you could say, to only work for lights. Oh, yeah. No, there is no head on it. Yeah, sorry about my gibberish, man. It's actually like, I don't normally talk to anybody when I work in my stuff, so saying all of this out loud, I kind of have to speak at the speed that I think, and usually it comes out as gibberish. So thank you for bearing with me. No, it doesn't have a head on it, and I do have an extractor kit, so I'll just have to pre-drill it and probably spray down with some PB Blaster or something to loosen it up, and then try and extract it. Worst case Ontario, I'll drill it out, I'll re-tap it, call it a day. We'll be back on the road in no time. Actually, this doesn't even affect much, you know. It would be nice to have the gas tank secure in all locations, but even the safety guys won't notice it, so I don't. It's the last thing on my list. Okay, so that's good. Red, perfect. Red goes there. Let's try and figure out where this brown. Okay, so I am curious about my brake switch. So my rear brake switch before was always on, and I don't know why. I think he just had it wired backwards, because my brake light was always on even though I wasn't pressing the brakes. So I have a feeling he had it wired backwards. We'll double check that. Not a huge deal though. Let me just check the wire colors. Brown and I'd like to say yellow, but it's really dirty, so we'll see. Rear stop switch, brown and ooh, that's a doozy. So that actually goes, okay, that makes sense. So one of them is supposed to go to the back. I've got a brown here. Hopefully there's a yellow here or a brown that I can track back to this place. This is where it gets like really confusing. So this is where I just have to look at the stuff and see if it goes to the right places, essentially. I don't blame you guys if you leave and find this completely and utterly boring. True. Yeah, thanks man. I'll have to see. I mean, he's got this one mounted kind of janky as well, so it'll work for now, but I might have to do some fixing to that as well. So, okay. I really want to say that's yellow, but there's also another yellow here, so maybe it's beige? Is there even beige? Let's see. There's brown. No, there's no beige. Okay, so in that case, let's try and track it down to the front brake switch. Front brake switch has a brown, which is probably what goes to the back, because the front brake switch and the rear brake switch are wired in together, right? If at any point you press either one of them, the whole circuit gets completed and your brake light turns on. So this makes sense. I've got a brown going into, where's the other brown going into? So I've got that green makes sense, that's power, that's fine. Why? Huh. He has the brake switch wired into the ignition switch, and I don't know why. Let's see. Brown goes to... Oh, interesting. Brown indeed goes into the ignition switch. That's interesting. I wonder why. I'll have to think about that one. So... Okay, so... Whew! This is where I'm starting to get a little confused, so bear with me. I'm gonna not look at that. Brake switch. This is all horn. Okay, perfect. This is a doozy. Horn again. Oh my goodness. I almost want to unwire my controls. I think I'll snip my controls off right now. They're causing me a lot of confusion. Where are my snips? Snippety snips. Hey kitty. My cat's just sitting there and staring at me. He's like, dude, you're crazy, you're talking to yourself again. Right, I was gonna snip it up here. So the only real wire that connects anything to anything is this green one, and I don't care about it. Done. We just got rid of that. Perfect. Crap. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. I thought I cut something off that was supposed to be cut on the other end of the wiring harness, but we're good. I didn't screw anything up. Yet. I need a quick drink. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I expected like one person to show up, but I saw there's 5 watching, so that's really cool. I'm really happy about that. Okay, let's look at what comes out of the magneto. I think I want to look at that right now. I'll deal with the brake switches later. I want to see what comes out of the magneto at the moment. More importantly, I want to see if I could wire in my neutral switch, because kind of need that for safety apparently. So I need to get an LED or something. I need to figure out the wattage of the stock bulbs. Then I need to get an LED, which I have, and then I need to probably wire in a proper resistor to match the wattage of the other bulb. So, oh hell yeah, Hank. Cool. That's awesome. Not many people can say they've got a 1-to-1 viewer-like ratio, eh? I'm breaking records here. Okay, so magneto, we have one connector, which has sky blue, yellow, and white. So let's look at that, sky blue, yellow, and white. And that's coming out of the magneto. Rather, one of the magneto switches. Interesting. Oh, those could actually be connected to... Wait, no. What was the sky blue on here? Oh, there is no sky blue on here, so that makes it even easier. So, in that case, let's look at... See, I have a connector here, which I don't see on the wiring diagram for some reason. And I wonder what it's for. This... Okay, so 4 of these wires are the same ones that I identified here, so I don't have to worry about that. That's all gravy. That's all good. Sky blue, yellow, and white. Now we got to figure out where those guys go. Sky blue, yellow, and white. Bear with me, guys. I really should have printed this out, but I don't have a printer, and I think the library was closed today. Or at least let's just assume it was. So... Oh, I see a white. I see a white. I see no color, fantastic. And I see a sky blue. Cool. Okay, so sky blue is my neutral switch. Of course, this genius, when he painted the bike and the cases and everything, he didn't bother taking the wiring off, so some of the wires, even though they have a color, they're just black because he got a bunch of overspray on them. See you, dude. Thanks, man. Sorry if I didn't catch your goodbye in time. My bad. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and I'll keep you updated on the bike. Whoa. Just had a bit of a power surge. Okay, so I am looking at sky blue, and I want to make sure that that is my switch, my neutral switch. Of course, it's one of the wires that is painted over, so I have no clue. I have no clue. This is great. You know what? Let's see where the yellow and the white go. The white should technically go to the rectifier, which I think it does. which I think it does. Let's put this back in here for now. And the yellow is supposed to go to, I knew this one and I forgot it. Well, okay, so here's the backstory. I got the bike and the guy was like, everything's fine with it, it may have an air leak, but in my mind, like, air leak can be one of two things, right? Either the carburetor is leaking air somewhere, or my case seals are leaking. So I got the bike and I had it for a bit. I was just figuring out registration and stuff. And one day when I was messing around with it, I got on it, I started it up, and none of the lights would work. Woo! That's a thunder and a half. None of the lights would work, right? So my turn signals wouldn't work, even my horn wouldn't work. The bike still ran like mint. So my theory is something is shorting out somewhere. Now, somewhere means this, right? So somewhere means somewhere in this dog's breakfast. Luckily, I've stared at this thing for long enough that this wiring doesn't seem that complicated anymore. It's just a matter of time. But the reason I'm going through all of it is just to make sure that I actually haven't missed anything, you know? It's better to know the bike inside and out than constantly guess, oh, like, I fixed this part of the wiring, but what if something else is gonna break now, you know? And thankfully, this side of the wiring seems more or less untouched. It seems like he kind of left it be. He didn't do too much to it. He didn't mess around with it, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, it's there. So, yeah, I'm gonna clean it up as best as I can without ripping everything out, and just try and get it safetied. So, yeah. I need to figure out where the yellow wire goes. So, yellow goes up to the front for whatever reason, but let's see what that reason is. And that's coming off the connector here. So that's yellow. Yep, yellow, sky blue, and what was the other one? Sorry, I got off track and forgot what colors were here. Just white. Okay. Okay, fine. So yellow actually goes to the turn signal switch. Interesting. Huh. So yellow is supposed to go to, and yellow comes out of here. Yellow goes to a switch that doesn't go to anything, apparently. However, it does go to somewhere. It goes to his dog's breakfast of turn signal wiring. Okay, this is gonna be fun. So this is, I think, where I'm probably gonna have to just cut it off and completely rewire it. I am running a little low on energy because this is my first time streaming and I haven't done this before, and talking and working is a little difficult. I'm sure I'll get better at it. But I do kind of know where I'm sitting at with the bike right now. I don't think I'm going to cut the stream just yet, but I think it'll probably be within another 10-15 minutes. So yeah, for sure, man. And once the electrical is done, I am going to look at the mechanical stuff as well. I kind of took a look at it before, and for the most part, I'm content with it, but there are a couple of things that I'd still like to go over and make sure they are not gonna fail on me halfway through a ride. So cool. That's so this wiring here actually seems pretty legit. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks pretty legit. I will make the assumption that this is my neutral switch, and we'll just kind of have to figure out where to go from there. I do want to see where the neutral switch ends up, though. Hey, Babs.
Back chase the wires from the light to the mess.
Yeah, for sure. The thing is like, my light is off right now. All of that stuff is off. My turn signals are off. I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to plug in my power supply, and I'm going to flick it on, and I'm going to feel out for, 5 volts at terminals. I'm going to separate all the wires first, make sure nothing's shorting out, and then I'll start feeling out if I'm getting power. I was going to check where my neutral light goes, so let's check that. Neutral indicator light. Sky blue goes from... Perfect. Okay, so that sky blue, let's see if the sky blue comes out here somewhere. I really hope it does. I like you, sky blue. There you go, sky blue. And what is the tag on here? Sky blue, indicators, perfect. Okay, so I found the wire for sky blue. Sorry, I found where sky blue goes. My tongue is all jumbled up. Which is good because I'll be able to hook up my LED to that. And I believe there's a brown wire that goes to a ground. Let's see. Brown goes to front stops. What? Oh, okay. Okay. So. Whoa. Okay. That's interesting. So for some reason, my neutral indicator light is connected to the front stop switch. Now why would that be? Oh, wait, I think I know why. Front stop switch, where does that brown go? That brown goes to the horn. And that goes to there, and that goes to the ground. Ha! Interesting. So, that's actually funny how it works. The horn is connected to the ground. Now let me find the ground on the horn. Where's the horn? I have it labeled here. Horn up. Brown, there you go. Brown. So this technically goes to ground. And this ground would be... Where would that ground be? Would that ground be here? Whew, I'm getting confused. Okay. The horn is connected to the ground, and then a wire goes off of it to the horn switch. So, okay, interesting. Okay. Alrighty, I think I know what's going on. It's really hard to put into words. I'm getting tired. I actually think I am going to cut the stream here. I think I did make a decent amount of progress. I'm starting to realize that the wiring is not as bad as I thought it was. I am going to keep working on it. I might live stream again tomorrow, probably earlier during the day so that it's a little lighter outside. But is it ground switched? Do you mean is it... Oh, yes, yeah, so the switch for the horn, one of the connections goes to ground. The other connector goes to the horn, and then the horn goes, one wire from the horn goes to the front brake switch, which then brings the power to the neutral light. So it's all wired in series, it seems. It seems like if one thing goes out, the whole thing goes out. Which kind of would explain why I lost all my lighting. One component probably went out and it's all goofing off now. But always has plus. Sorry, Hank, I'm not exactly sure what you mean in that last one. It always has positive, but switch connects to negative. Oh, I see. Let me see. Let me check the diagram. So, yeah, the negative is connected to the ground. Yeah, so the negative is connected to the ground. And the positive goes to the horn. Does that make sense? I'm so noob. Scorpio, yeah, I believe you can go in the about section of my channel and there's a way to contact me via email. I think so. If not, leave a comment on one of my videos and I'll just give you my email. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna call it here, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by. I honestly think that I made, like, I've been live streaming for an hour and 15 minutes and I am feeling so much more confident about this bike, and I think it's because the stream is kind of keeping me accountable and keeping me working on it. And instead of getting frustrated in front of you guys, I am choosing to power through it and figure out this darn wiring. So once again, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the support. I did not expect 5 people to come out even, so thanks again. I keep saying thanks, but I do mean it. Thank you. If you guys are interested, I'll probably be streaming again tomorrow. Probably earlier. I'll set a reminder in the morning. I don't know if I can do that, but I'll try and set a reminder in the morning to let you guys know what time it will be. But it'll probably be as exciting as this. So I don't blame you if you don't come back. But anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video or in the next stream.